We now go on to the second talk for today, and we have with us our dear Dr. Rama Reddy sir. Dr. Rama Reddy is one of India's very eminent psychiatrists. He runs a hospital called the Manasa Hospital, and he has been awarded the B.C. Roy Award. The B.C. Roy Award, which is one of the topmost awards when we talk about the medical field in India. Sir has numerous academic degrees to his name. In fact, he has a record for the most diverse academic degrees in one individual, and yet at the same time retains the simplicity, authenticity, the accessibility, the humility to keep on learning. And I lovingly refer to Rama Reddy sir as a son of Goddess Saraswati herself. He is truly a child of the Goddess of Learning. So inviting you, sir, to give your presentation, which is looking at yoga therapy and acculturation, challenges and strategies. So over to you, sir.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Namaste, everybody. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Today, I'm going to speak something on yoga and acculturation, challenges and strategies. And I welcome you all for this session. I'm very fortunate to be a scholar of Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth. Although it is a deemed university, NAAC A++, I'm very fortunate here. Acharya Devo Bhava. Let me pay my respects to my Acharya, my guide, Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani ji, by offering him a digital bouquet. My Saha Acharyas, Dr. Meena Ramanathan ji and Dr. Dayanidhi ji, I pay my respects to them. Let me pay my respects to the authorities of Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth University, to the Chancellor, to the Vice Chancellor, to the Registrar and Vice President of the Research. And let me pay my respects and best wishes to all the CYTER team who are really working there, and I am enjoying sitting in the chair here, who are having that the hard work there. And let me pay my respects to so many great people who are offering their lectures, the intellectual sharing here. Just now we had the opportunity to listen to the great legendary personality, Sethuramanji, and let me pay my respect to them. Okay, coming to the point, the menu card here is, what is culture? What is acculturation and its characteristics? What are the challenges in relation to yoga therapy? And what are the remedial strategies? So these are the points which I'm going to deal in this short lecture. So what is this culture? It is the way of life of a group of people, including their attitudes, values, beliefs, arts, science, or the modes of perception, habits of thought, and activity. Culture is something like amalgam of arts, beliefs, customs, values, institutions, inventions, language, technology, politics, economy, and food. Everything together. The whole thing of the life. What the people of the society wear, what the languages the people speak, what kind of work they do, and how they govern themselves, what they prepare for their food, and where they live. So all these things come under the culture. So how they judge from right from wrong, how they learn the culture through language, watching, imitation, shared with members of society and passed from one generation to the next. Culture of a society means the total way of life of the society. Culture is that complex whole that consists of everything we think, do, and have as members of society. So when we just put them into a single slide, culture has its utility. Culture is learned. Culture is social. It is shared. It is transmissive. And it is continuous and cumulative. It is consistent and interconnected. It is dynamic and adaptive. It has distinct entity. It is gratifying. Then coming to the acculturation. The acculturation means when somebody who belongs to one culture, he gets exposed to another culture. Somebody from India, he goes to US or UK or Australia, there he will have the culture shock because he is not accustomed to certain ways there. Acculturation is a process in which an individual adapts to the other culture. For example, the person who is belonging to this culture, when he is put into the other culture, he has to adapt to that culture. So that adaptation process, we call it as acculturation. Sometimes one person goes into the other culture or the culture is imposed on him. Either of the ways it happens. The stages of culture shock are, initially it would be an excitement stage. Later, it would be disenchantment. The initial excitement would go away and he faces the crisis. And the third will be the resolution stage. And the fourth will be the adaptation becomes a positive adaptation, like with effective functioning. The culture shock, because of his mental state, he will be facing varying reactions. Something initially like anxiety and associated phenomena like the physiological phenomena associated with it. And he may feel denial, he may get fatigue like, he may antagonize the things, and he may get the rejection, insensitivity, and so on. The acculturation, certain models are proposed. One is segregation, the other is assimilation, the third one is integration, and the fourth one is marginalization. Let us see what these are. Segregation means here the person, he keeps his culture as it is. And although he is placed in some other culture, he won't be just budging at all. He will be segregated and he will be living on his own. See, this person who wears the Indian Sampradaya clothes and all, even if he is put in Western culture also, he will be maintaining the same thing without adapting to that one. And the other one is the integration. Here, the integration means both the cultures he adopts. That means he will be adopting the Sampradaya in his place and he will be adopting to the other culture during the workplace also. So bicultural thing we can find in integration. That means integration is a better way of accommodating to that one. In assimilation, when the new culture he has been exposed to the new culture, he adapts totally to the new culture and he leaves the old culture and follows that one. In marginalization, what happens is he just leaves his own culture and also he doesn't adapt to the other culture also. He will not be giving even a iota of respect to both the cultures and he will be living on his own. So these are the four models for acculturation. Now coming to the yoga therapy part, we'll see which one is applicable for us. Segregation is not the way, because one maintaining his own culture without adopting to that one is not a good thing. Marginalization, leaving his own culture and not adopting the other culture is also not good thing. Assimilation, of course, it is the best thing. For example, coming to the culture and adopting fully to the new culture, that is the ideal one, utopia like. Integration is adapting to both. For example, somebody coming to India and assuming the name, something like Subha, Priya, or Sangeeta, and so on. So adopting a name that is adapting to the culture, at the same time retaining the old thing, Sangeeta Lara Biyagi, or Bharata Bill Francis. So that means there is integration. That means they are retaining their own culture, at the same time adapting well to the new culture. So that integration. Assimilation means totally leaving everything and coming here and becoming one Nishalananda, or and leaving everything, the roots at all. So that is assimilation. So these two things could be positively applying for yoga therapy. So what are the adaptation strategies? One is the making personal contact with host culture and learning about the host culture, and also adopting the ways and doing really, not the theory or reading some books. Coming to acculturation in relation to yoga therapy, yoga is a big system. Yoga is almost the universal system, we can say, super system. Yoga therapy is a minuscule of that one. Unfortunately, yoga therapy is given a big thing, and as if the yoga is somewhat ancient, outdated thing, people would be thinking, but yoga therapy is a part of that one. And the goal of yoga is the harmony and peace and individual consciousness uniting or joining or releasing the supreme or the global consciousness. So that is the ultimate goal of that one. Whereas it is a byproduct. So many byproducts would be there. In the sugar factory, it's not only the sugar, so many other things like molasses and all other things come. But we don't give importance for molasses. We give, that's okay, that's another fruit. Similarly here also, cure for diseases is a byproduct. 4 targets groups. It's our acculturation. One is about the non-Indians. Non-Indians getting exposed to yoga and how do they feel, how to get acculturated. And non-Hindus belonging to other faiths. And health professionals of modern medicine, they also require acculturation because it is a new thing. Modi government has started so many things and all. Ayush is almost impinging on them. Even the first MBBS also they started yoga classes. And what is this? Ultimately, are they engulfing us? So health professionals of modern system, they have to get acculturated. And also the general public and the common people and the people of other disciplines who require acculturation. So here I am following our standard model, Heya, Hetu, Hana, and Upaya. So these 4 things I'm trying to apply to our problem here, our acculturation problem. Heya. So Heya is, as we all know, that it is the problem. So what is the problem like? The problem here is yoga has become popular and spread globally even well before the unveiling of IYD. IYD has come just a few years back, but even before that, so many people like Ananda, B.K. Iyengar, Krishnamachari, or Swami Rama, or Patabi Joyce, so many people, they exposed the other countries with our yoga. So much has been done for decades together, or maybe even centuries together. That is happening. But some, I repeat again, some, not all. Some yoga masters from India went to the West. Instead of standing up for what yoga is, they modified it to suit whatever agenda would get them an audience. It got diluted into something so far from yoga that today we are struggling. So what happened is, instead of getting the Western people acculturated, they got acculturated to the Western people, and they tried to dance according to the tune of those people there to satisfy the needs of this one. So I'm repeating again, not to denigrate so many great people, but some. When yoga is taken out of the culture, the body remains, but not the soul. So when we chemically examine the dead body and the living body, everything would be equal. Magnesium, same content. Iron, same content. Zinc, same content. Everything is same. But what is the difference between these two? Prana is here, prana is not there. Similarly, the yoga without the soul, without the prana, without the life, so a dead thing is gone. It is not an item to be preserved in a box in a museum. So it has been packaged. That package has been taken to the other cultures. So that has happened. Here, two things I borrow from our gurus: organic development and inorganic development. Organic development is the growth into who they can be and the manifesting their best. A Christian coming to yoga, he will be the best Christian. A Muslim coming to yoga, he will become the best Muslim. And we are not changing them into this one. See, for education, there are two things are there. Education is bringing out the potentials of from inside to out. So that is the real purpose of education, not dumping information overload. So here in the organic development is the real growth. But unfortunately, inorganic acquisition has been taken place. That has become the problem. Some people come here, spend a month or so, and visiting all the places and sightseeing and all, and getting a yoga certificate and getting that accreditation and going there and selling the product there. So mechanically, it has become a commodity for sales. Culturally misappropriated yoga, so there is misuse, there is misrepresentation, there is misunderstanding and misleading the other people also. So that is what is happening. So there are people who start the old yoga. Patanjali, if we had this one, I do not know. I mean, I cannot utter the words. Beer yoga, aerial yoga, equine yoga, nude yoga, cannabis yoga. So many things. Just type in strange yoga or weird yoga in Google, you will get hundreds of this type of yogas. So distorted, grotesque activities in the name of yoga, total mutation or not mutation. Mutation is a gentle word. Mutilation occurring in the name of adaptation. That's what is happening. So just what has happened is, when the Sanskrit has been removed, it has become a fitness regime like Ayoga yoga, Mrata yoga, plastic yoga, yoga sans yoga, namesake yoga. So this is the problem what we are facing. Even the Sanskrit names like Adhomukha Svanasana. So all these terms will have a dignity, a vibration, a sense of feeling. All these things are there. And those have been distorted to such a down level that down dog pose, up donkey pose or down donkey pose. And even Nataraja asana, it has become dancer's pose. Even calling asana itself is a pose. It itself is such a gross mistake. And yoga, calling it as union also, is not just a simply union. It's a total Advaita principle personified, we can say. How to replicate and bring traditional yoga alive in the environment? Cultural context doesn't exist or is seen as a suspect or primitive. Value may not be put on what is valued here, and value may be put on what is not valued here. So this is the problem we are facing. And glamorization, abuse of sacred symbols, decorative pieces. See, these things are becoming decorative pieces, like putting the deities on the floor or on the shoes also, painting on the shoe or yoga mat. See, imagine Ganesha symbol, Ganesha picture on a yoga mat also, or putting these things as security people standing there in the 5-star hotels as the idols there. We can see so many things. So these people who do not really know about the real value of the yoga, that is our heya. Then what is the cause for this one? What is the hetu? The cause is the modus operandi, we can say, or the etiology. Etiology already we have started. The pathology, what is happening? Writing that negates or minimizes, denies or violates the cultural elements. Cites the traditional sources only to validate their own sterile model. No, I got a training there under the so and so. So and so's name would be used. For the namesake, because they have registered for this webinar, because they have paid some 300 rupees or so, I am the disciple of, I am the proud disciple of, or the so favorite disciple of Ananda ji, and he starts misusing his name and he starts selling. So this type of things, citing traditional sources only to validate their own sterile model, distorts, misrepresents, reconstituted model by misusing Sanskrit ideas and texts, and rebrands yoga, and cites but misrepresents or infantilizes. No, that old thing, Patanjali, as you know, years of so many centuries back, and he doesn't know much about yoga. Now I have refined it. Like medicine, which is improving, even the yoga has to be modernized. So infantilizing or chiding the traditional things. Sterile yoga, studying and teaching only sterile yoga that denies the cultural context. Misrepresentation, refusing to acknowledge the traditional. It is something like plagiarism only. Not using and negating the traditional episteme and views tradition as inferior. Yoga mutations, denying the importance of comprehensive holistic learning. Teaching the trainers a bit of yoga, but not the whole yoga and true yoga. And obtaining trademarks as if he is the real discoverer or inventor. And plastic yoga or artificial yoga, misusing and reconstructing Sanskrit terms, something like neologisms, their own words. So these are the things what are happening. And sacred objects, rejecting all the cultural elements and creating objects with nothing in common or at odds, and making the replicas disregarding cultural sentiments also. So using the sacred symbols like Om also for some other purpose, or using the sacred malas also for some purpose or other. So this type of things we see. And charlatans, they're positioning themselves as the expert authority and misleading the students, advocating against parampara and dharma, and violating the yogic norms and principles like yama and niyama, and adharmic activity or activism we can see. Then Hana, what is the relief? What we are going to remove and how to produce the cure of that one? The Hana is yoga in its holistic cultural context is required to be transmitted to the other areas. Which areas? Other parts of the world, other religions, and the modern scientific community, and the misunderstood public. So these are the cultures which require acculturation, which requires the real understanding of what yoga is. What is the upaya? What are the strategies which are required to implement this one, or to get the benefits, or to get the goal achieved? How to replicate and bring traditional yoga alive in their environment. Cultural appreciation, sincere participation in activities of Indian culture. Just Indian culture, just coming here and spending some time in an ashram or with a traditional guru or so, and appreciation of Sanatana Dharma with humility, love and adoration, like Guru-Sishya relationship. Then only they get the respect, adoration, love, and the genuine understanding of this one. And the Dharma, regarding the Dharma, the righteousness or the right useness, right thought, right speech, and right action. As we say, manasa, vacha, karmana. So this type of, they should get the understanding of this thing, not sitting in a vakrasana or bakasana, not this one. Those are also important, not unimportant. But before that, they should get the philosophy of the span. Bridging the ancient and modern, representing yoga culture and teaching accurately, respectfully with love, integrity, fidelity, and commitment. Respecting the living and ancestral culture in their work. Inspiring others to uphold dharma. Creating works which increase knowledge, truth, and leading from avidya to vidya. And citing the authenticity of this one. Maharshi Gitananda has quoted this way, has said this way, or Patanjali said this way, Swatma Rama said this way. So they should be in a position to quote that one with humility. Study of yoga, learning yoga and scripture in traditional Guru Shishya context, and studying yoga from primary sources, and with the same respectable approach, and referring the text accurately with authenticity. And teaching the teachers, teaching them the holistic cultural context, and also inspiring love for yoga and guide and the teachers to the live yoga through their appropriate role modeling. One should be a role model. See, not just uttering yama and nima and all these things when he is living in a very immoral way. So that should not be the thing. He should be a role model. He should be in a position to be emulated, to obtain the full benefits of this one, the real model holistic yoga for the students. Continues the living tradition, and the students also will be living too. And it is not a 2 months course or 3 months course or also so. I have seen those who have come to Gitananda tradition, they become lifelong learners of yoga. And so many people, 20 years back, they came to ISA, and even now also they attend the classes. Even now also they enjoy participating in the discussions. So that should be the thing. It is something like a happy addiction. Sathya Sai Baba says one thing, you should become mad. Madness of what? Madness of bhakti of devotee. So deity. So here also it is something like yoga should become, one should become a lifelong learner. The speech, sacred speech, respects, rightly applies and understands the meaning of Sanskrit and the yogic terms. And it doesn't mean that one should become a Sanskrit scholar also. At least the basic things, the fundamental things, how the roots are combining, the pre and suffix, how the roots combine to become one thing, or how the words are formed with the roots. Recognizing the importance of Sanskrit in yoga and continuing to learn and grow in understanding the Sanskrit. Here the philosophy, after all, yoga is a darshan, important, very important darshan. Among the 6 darshans, it is one. But not nobody, but 90% of the people consider that it is an exercise only, but not a darshana. Sacred objects, understanding the meaning of the purpose of the sacred objects, and incorporating and rightly using the sacred objects, displaying them appropriately and ethically, interacting with the people in the traditional way. The lineage, respecting the traditional system of authority, understand the working within the adhikara, and exhibiting the integrity and the fidelity and the commitment. Advocating within the bounds of one's adhikara. And say, I have been in the field for the past 3 years and 3.5 years. I cannot become an adhikari even though I was in the tradition for 3.5 years. I know my limits. I know what I know. And one should be aware of the unawareness also. So he should know where he is within his own, respecting the other qualified advocates who are present, and the Guru's approval for whatever one utters, and accountability to the authorities, and speaking appropriately and consistently. So that should be the advocacy part of it. So here the special groups. for non-Indian yoga participants. Anything extra? One is, the important thing is language barriers. The other thing is lifestyle, like the food habits, the drinking and smoking, things of that sort. Sanskrit is not just a language. Sanskrit is a vibration. When yoga terms are used in the divine language, that vibration is retained. It is supposed to be the Deva Bhasha. So we have to respect it. And even Sanskrit is found to be a very good language for computer programming and all. Because such a great language, we should give the respect not only empirically, but also traditionally. Language barriers are there between our Indian languages and also for the other people who are coming from the other countries. Here the languages would have intonation patterns, stress patterns of this one. For example, let us take English language. They will have the stress pattern. Photograph. We stress there the first syllable, we say photograph, we call. But when we say photographer, we don't say photographer, we say photographer. There, the stress is on the second syllable. When we say photographically, we stress on the first syllable and also third syllable. Photographically. So that means when we Indians speak photographically, when we say like that, they can't understand because it will be like the gun with bullets like. So although we think that we are speaking so well, but it's not so understandable for them. So similarly, because of their pattern, even our Sanskrit also will be a problem for them. For example, bhajan. We know it is bhajan. But because when there is no stress pattern for any word, they use the first syllable with the stress. Bhajan. But instead of saying bhajan, they would be saying bhajan. And we say pranayama. They say pranayama. So because of the stress pattern they are accustomed to, it would be a little difficult. But it is not a totally impossible thing. And once they get accustomed to this one, I think we can easily make them coming to this one. Not saying that the Western languages are inferior also. They are having such richness. For example, certain sounds are there. They have got V sound and a W sound. But unfortunately, we have got only Va. See, V has to be uttered with the teeth touching the lower lip. Va. Water means a person who votes water. Whereas W sound, we have to put the lips like a circle. Water. That is pani, our gel. So here, the V and W are different. But for us, both are only Va only. So for Saraswati, we write W. But instead, we should write V only. Because Saraswati, not Saraswati. It's not so. So here, certain things we have the lacuna, like met. We met with each other, and we have got the yoga mat. And he is my classmate, my batchmate. Met, mate. Mate, of course, in American accent we call mate. In British accent we say with a diphthong, mate. But here, in our languages in Devanagari, we have only one met. That is for mate. So for everything that only. So this is another difficulty. Even for the fa sound and ph sound also, f sound and ph sound also, we have got only one fa. That means for Falguna fa, we use the same thing. Falguna pa, that also we say the same thing. So here the difficulty comes because of deficits in our language, in our scripts, of course, in our and certain things people, even our Indians also feel somewhat difficult to utter, like sa, sa, Sha. Sa as in Saraswati, Sa as in Sambhu, Shiva, Subham, and Shah as in Shahjahan, Shabnam. So here, Sahasra, Sirisha, Purusha. But here the problem is when we write this one, we write SH for Sa and also Shah. See, Shah has to be uttered by full retroflex cerebral. It has to touch the deeper part of the palate when we say Shah. Whereas for Shiva also some people say Shiva, Shiva. So it should not be the way, but it should not be Shiva. It should be in between Shiva. So people have to be to get accustomed to this one. I think it doesn't require more than a few weeks or months to get accustomed to this one. Even our languages, the Tamil, so rich, so ancient language, but with very limited letters. For ka, ka, ga, ga, the same letter. So the problem is, Setharaman sir was telling, Kandam. We people say Gandam because we have got Ka and Ga, Gandam we say. See certain things like Sarulata, we call Charulata. So the differences will be there, but those differences can be ironed out once we sit together and try to get the training for the newcomers from the other countries. Mantro hinaha swarato varnato va michya prayukto na tamardama. That means if the mantra is not pronounced correctly, it becomes ineffective. Sometimes it can even destroy the person or the whole purpose. Indrajit, see, one person, he wanted to defeat the Indra, but he has used the intonation in such a way that he got defeated by Indra. Because the same word, how we use, good morning, sir, good morning, good morning. Say all the three are good morning only, but the pattern, one is with respect, one is indifferent, one is reckless. So similarly here also, in Sanskrit, we have got so many things like Rasva, Dirgha, Pluta, Udata, Anudata, Swarita, Anunasika, even the ordinary word also with Nasika and Ananunasika. So many variants for just a single word. So this way, each letter could be pronounced at least 18 times. So when we go to the Mantra Yoga or Nada Yoga or Swara Yoga, I think one should get the acquaintance of this one. And the one way is the diacritics. Fortunately, the diacritics are devised for Sanskrit, International Phonetics, Sanskrit, the society has formed this one, where to put upper dash or upper apostrophe like thing and lower dot. So all these things would be easily telling that actually I wanted to put all the diacritics in all the Sanskrit terms, but it would be hard for the students, I thought. So I have maintained the usual way only. The diacritics is the one which can be utilized. Then lifestyle factors. Eating beef is a normal thing for some cultures. Eating mutton is a normal thing. But here, yuktahara viharasya, it is not to deny their habits are so, but we know about the sattva guna, raja guna and tamo guna, and certain things will be influencing the personality. Even we practically see when we eat masala extra, I think our temperament would be somewhat different. When we eat curd rice, our temperament would be somewhat different. Similarly, foods also. And intoxicating substances, those will be changing the persons. And these things, I think once they come to ashram, they just become so sage-like. And they have to live there. They have to live there to getting the lifestyle converted. And religions, so many faiths are there. Major religions are there, but so many faiths are there. So many sects are there. But for example, pranayama is there. Sagarbha pranayama, agarbha pranayama. Soham, without soham. So hum. So this thing, what is the meaning of soham? So it is the reciprocal of hamsa. What is hamsa? Hamsa is something about soul and all. So no. Those things, those philosophical things we don't want. Or pranava pranayama. We know how important that one and how beneficial that one. Akara, ukara, makara, and how the breathing is associated with this one. But Omkara, so that means that is the essence of the Hinduism, it seems. How can we utter that one? So we can say that these things, these are the symbols which do not have a religious connotation, but they have the proven utility. Even in PubMed, you can say, you just Pranava, you can just search in, you can find hundreds of things on Pranava. So it is a scientific thing. It's not a religious thing really. And Surya Namaskara, yes, Lord is there, but Surya is his representative. He is giving us energy. When somebody says, somebody helps us, don't we put Namaskar for him? Similarly, sun is helping us. We put a Namaskar to tree, we put a Namaskar to river, we put a Namaskar to sun. That's all. Whether you utter the mantras, fine. If you don't want to utter mantras, at least put Namaskar to him. So Pranav chanting, instead of Om, I suggested our Guruji Acharya ji, whether we can have this type of research in future, like instead of Omkar Japa, if we say Hallelujah or Allah, what happens? Shall we try that one? So scientific verification for such things. And the name of the Lord is, whether we call it Srimanarayana or Shiva or Allah or Jehovah, whether you call this as hand or heart or kai or chayi, whatever you call it, it is the same thing. So these are all aliases. That's all. So when we educate them, I don't think the people will be so cranky and so stubborn, and they will be easily accepting the things. And coming to the third category, health professionals of modern medicine. The physician of modern medicine and yogi. How to get acculturation. How to get the friendship between these two. And all are not so having Porojanma Supratam like born yogi physician like our Acharya ji. So fortunate to be a yogi from birth and also a physician also from birth, because a son of physicians usually they get accustomed to that culture also. So we are very fortunate to have a combination of both Acharyas, physician Acharya and yoga Acharya. But people like me who are physicians first, who get lateral entry into the system, they will be starting with acculturation. They will be starting with skepticism. Really, does it your work? Okay, let me do a PhD and see the thing, what happens. I'll be doing the true research and I'll be putting the thing. Then gradually come to the reality that how great it is and all, and gets the acculturation. Similarly, proof of pudding like. The challenges are, for the health professionals are, metaphysical concepts, scientific evidence, compatibility, and acceptance. The metaphysical concepts like, for example, the Panchakoshas. Panchakoshas. See, we know about only body, we know anatomy, and we know physiology. And behind that, psychiatry people say that something like mind is also there. Okay, we accept it. But beyond that one, what are there? Panchakoshas, how can we accept when we can't see? Pancha pranas, how can we accept? Upapranas, what are these? Shat chakras, where are they? And 72,000 nadis. Nadi means, is it a nerve? Is it a vein? Or is it something else? So these are all metaphysical concepts for a modern physician like. So for him, he needs scientific evidence-based medicine, and randomized controlled studies, double-blind studies, publications in only index journals only. We have got lot of research, hundreds of things. Just PubMed is the reservoir of all the scientific authenticated publications. And when we just yoga or yoga therapy, if you key in, you find many hundreds or if you have many years, thousands of evidence-based articles. Randomized controlled studies, randomization is being done, and a double blind is not possible because yoga therapist would be knowing and yoga person participant may be knowing and may not be knowing. So this is the thing I think which we can say about this one. And the compatibility, and another thing is regarding this abstract metaphysical things. Acupressure is there, acupressure reflexology is there, and initially people were so skeptical, but really it works. Although they talk about gallbladder meridian, this thing and that thing, and just pressing on the great toe, things will happen in brain, or pressing here at the ear, something will happen in the heart. So this type of things one was not believing, but now we believe because those are authenticated and proven. And the interactions, whether there is any interaction between this type of processes and the procedures of modern medicine. Whether fitness, somebody having very bad cervical spondylosis, can he do this one? Any adverse effects? There are a very few papers about adverse effects. And proportional contribution. See, somebody has improved. So who has improved that one? Me with my medicines, or a yogi with his asanas and pranayamas? So who will get the credit? So this type of problems will be there for compatibility between these two things. And because of the power struggle or status struggle, what these people, what did they study? They are coming here and dictating terms to us. No, here it is not the power or status, it is the well-being of the people there. Here, yoga is not going to replace everything. It is an adjunct for this one, for the modern medicine. Team approach. In the team, so many people will be there, all are important. Of course, the physician is the first among the many. And here the salutogenesis approach, not the pathogenesis approach. So here the prevention and the promotion, which are propagated. When there is an emergency, okay, modern medicine is of use. I was telling about the analogy of reflexology also, the acupressure and all. So acceptance will not be a problem. Initially, there would be denial. No, nothing is there. It's all trash. And when they are coming to the clinics and doing some work, anger initially. And after that, bargaining. Okay, all the psychosis cases I will be dealing only neurosis cases and anxiety cases only you take up. So bargaining. And depression. When I treated a depression case with all my antidepressants, not recovered. But when he went to yoga center and within 1 week, he became all right. So feeling depressed that somebody is doing better work than me. And ultimately acceptance. So these are all the stages we see. And in the public also, mundane expectations, cure of incurable, and sports and Indian gymnastics, physiotherapy, politics and economics, skepticism. Mundane expectations. They expect that it should control anger. I should not get anger. I should become Buddha-like. No, after all, we are here. We are human beings. Our human emotions should be there. We should get anger. Like Rama doesn't become angry. He gets anger. One should get this one. So totally becoming a inhuman, like it's not an expectation that can be fulfilled. Total physical strength. I should get the full strength, or total muscle strength. My intellectually disordered person or so-called mentally retarded person should become intelligent person enough to crack IAS. So this type of high expectations and immunity. I know a yoga master who has gone to Corona wards without wearing even a mask, saying that because I am a yoga master, I don't get it. So that type of things should not be there. Immunity, it improves, but one should accept the reality. In Vibhuti Yoga, so many things are there. Magical powers, you try to demonstrate. Or I want to get it at any cost. You tell me as much as you want, I pay. but I should get the paranormal powers. So this type of mundane expectations, we should cut them short to the level. And the cure of incurable, the cancers, yes, those can be very much helped, and they can have the comfortable life. And the dementias, definitely there are research is going on on the effect of mantras on the brain, Alzheimer's and Omkara Japa. So these are being proven, but it doesn't mean that it totally hurts the thing. So we have to accept the thing. And the AIDS, he can live longer, he can live decades together with good lifestyle. And unfortunately, the tall talk by immature people. No, you stop all the medicines. You need not take medicines at all and come to me. I'll cure this one. So with this one, some people are there. Some people, I think I should not mention the sex, people of that sort. Yogopathy, people come there. I have diabetes. What is this one? So a prescription of 2 asanas and 3 pranayams. They expect that one. These people will give. And I have got hypertension, giving that one. So here, such a Swamiji, Gitananda Swamiji, Maharshiji, he has developed such a great diagnostic system depending on all the people. Every case has to be dealt tailor-made. So here, yoga therapy should not be, should not come down to the level of yogopathy, and that has to be discouraged. And in the sports, unfortunately, I think better it should be called Indian gymnastic rather than yoga, because asanas, some asanas, the person who does so much distorted version of the yoga, he is the champion. So the people who are doing meditation, the people who are doing pranayama, they can never be champions of yoga. Those who live to the expectation of yama and niyama, 100%, they are not yogis, according to the asanas principle. They are champions. But fortunately, popularity has been gained for yoga because of the sports thing. But these misconceptions about this one, that yoga is nothing but asanas, it should be removed. So every yoga, every sports university should have that the yoga philosophy department. After having that training there only, they should enter to the other things. In physiotherapy also, we happen to review certain things like in journals, in our journal club. Some physiotherapy, they put just yoga names are there, but there is no yoga there. Only some physiotherapy technique is there, calling prefix of yoga. And misuse of props. Why should the props be there at all for natural yoga? When the asana should be a comfortable thing, is there a stable thing? But physiotherapy department also has brought popularity to yoga by this one. Again, the misconceptions has to be dealt with. And politics and business life. Politics is, Modi ji has done a lot for development of yoga at the international level. So certain people, pro-Modi ji people, they give a lot of importance for yoga. So some people who do not like Modi ji, they don't like yoga also because it is promoted by Modi ji. It is something like saffronization. No, yoga we don't like because it is a saffron thing. So this type of irrational antagonism. So this thing we have to deal with rationally. And the business commodity. See, the so-called Topukarnam, or in Telugu we call Gunjilu. So that Topukarnam is the power yoga, in the name of power yoga, for $500 they sell in outside countries. Our Guruji, just in YouTube, if you just follow that video, I think you can do wonderfully that power yoga. Last 2 minutes, the skepticism. Yoga is nothing but exercise only. Why yoga? We can go for exercise. This type of skepticism. These crooked postures and all hype, crooked postures. How can they deal with the diseases? And with yoga, somebody developed some injuries. No. It is after all a religious fanatism. It is a one way of promoting Hinduism in the name of yoga. It is nothing but a placebo only. Why should we follow? So this type of skeptics, we have to show the modern evidence. This one. And one more, my suggestion. This is my last slide. That government should start Yoga Council of India on par with Medical Council of India, Rehabilitation Council of India, Bar Council of India, Yoga Council of India. Why Yoga Council of India? Regulation of the professional standards, the qualifications and the ethics. Everybody who attends a certificate course for 1 month or so, he becomes a yoga trainer and he will be propagating the Miss Yoga to so many other people. And licensing the yoga studios, whether they have the proper paraphernalia or not, what they are really teaching there, whether they know about all Ashtangas or not. So this type of thing. And every yoga should be, Adhikara yoga should be part of all disciplines. After all, it is the moral sense or the ethical sense everybody should have, whether he is a medical student or engineering student or some art student. In the first year, one should have the Adhikara yoga, Yama and Niyama thing or in the schools. Schools itself, moral instruction classes, in that this should be there. And also, Adhikara yoga is the prerequisite for the rest of the components. For practicing your asanas or pranayamas, one should introspect himself where he is as far as the other things are concerned. So this is my request or my ambition, I can say, for the uplifting of the yoga to the better. And I think I have crossed my time. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. It is a nice opportunity. And thank you all. On behalf of SBVU CYTER, this presentation. And this is the end of this one. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much, sir. Excellent presentation. Very comprehensive, and you have brought out the most important aspects of what are the difficulties and what are the solutions, what are the methods. As you said, the Chaturvyuha model of Heya Hetu Hana Upaya, you have applied perfectly in this context. And what is the problem? What is the cause of the problem? Where we need to go? How can we get there? And what are the tools? And a very elaborate presentation, which I think is the need of the hour. And practically, you have spoken of all the aspects. How these can be brought into our practice, not just theoretically. What are the difficulties and what we have to be careful of? All of these aspects. And you have covered it so well. I thank you so much, sir, for this beautiful presentation. You are an integral part of this. Yet at the same time, your status, your elevated capacity as a human being, as a senior medical, as one of the most notable psychiatrists in India, I think all of these enable us to realize what perspective you have from a very, very elevated place. And I'm sure that all of the participants in this webinar would have enjoyed this presentation. If you're in a position to put on your videos, I think it would be nice to have a group shot whenever possible. But seriously, always a great thought process coming from Rama Reddy sir. It's a blessing to have you, sir, as part of the CYTER family. And on behalf of CYTER, on behalf of SBVU Yoga Mahotsav, we thank you for this presentation. And I would request you, as I'll be requesting Seduraman sir, to share the PDF of your presentation so that we can share it in our group with all the participants, the registered participants, to help motivate each and every one of us to become a soldier for the cause of yoga in its holistic perspective. We thank everyone for being with us today, and it is very special to have each and every one of you join us for this session. Be with us for the next 8 days as we go on this next 7 days. Be with us and let us all come together in a very wonderful sense of yoga itself. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. As done today, we'll be starting tomorrow at 10:30 sharp. And for those who are not registered participants, I have created a YouTube feed also. You are welcome to share that with others. The idea is not to make money out of this or to be elusive, but those who have registered, we respect them as the Zoom participants. And for others to be part of it and watch it, we would like to share the YouTube video, because in the Zoom, you always have a chance to make your comments and in the chat box. And if you have questions, we can always address them. So thank you, everyone. Let's have a wonderful